Hello everyone, and welcome back to No Sugar Challenge Cooking. Now, today I'm going to show you what I'm making for supper. Now what I'm going to be making is just regular pan-fried salmon. Then I've got my broccoli here that I'm going to be sauteing as well. Normally I would use a frozen bag of steamer broccoli, but I had gotten a larger bag of broccoli, and rather than cook that one gigantic bag, I actually portioned it out according to the weights on the frozen broccoli that I normally get. So I got that, and then for my other side I have some leftover, the last of my actually homemade coleslaw. Sorry. And so that's what I'm going to be having for supper today. I just thought I would share with everyone exactly how I cook it, what kind of seasonings I use, and that kind of stuff. So for the salmon, I've got about 200 grams of salmon fillets here. And when I do these videos, I'm going to be doing them in grams. Now, the reason why I'm doing them in grams versus cups or pounds or ounces is because that's what nutritional facts are given to you in. They're given to you in grams, and the larger world uses grams versus cups, ounces, all that kind of stuff. It's done by weight. I would rather cook by weight. So I have about 200 grams of salmon here, just 2 fillets with the skin still on. That's fine. I have 340 grams of broccoli, and I weighed this coleslaw. It's about 75 grams. So estimating the calories, you've got about 412 here, 120 grams. See how much less you have here, but there's more food. That's awesome. And then the coleslaw I actually made it sugar-free when I made it myself. And you got about 112 grams of calories here. Now the olive oil we're going to be using for this, and it's about 120 per serving. Serving is a tablespoon, same as the avocado oil we used. We're going to divide that by 3, so count this as 40 calories. So all told, my meal for this evening is only going to come out to about 680 calories. And as far as the carbs go, only 9 grams of net carbs, most of which are coming from the broccoli, but that's okay because the broccoli has 12 grams of fiber, and the coleslaw is made with cabbage. It's only got about 1 gram of fiber for the amount that I'm using, but that's still better fiber. And as far as the sugar content goes in all of this, there's 5 grams of sugar in this meal. Now, I know this is the no sugar cooking, or no sugar challenge cooking, but the sugar is in the broccoli. Now, it's a natural sugar, and it's only 1 gram per serving, since there's 4 servings here, and I always eat 4 servings of broccoli for supper. That's where most of the sugar comes in. The other 1 gram of sugar is what was in the cabbage that I used to make the coleslaw. So all of the sugar that's in this is natural sugar, and it's only 5 grams, and like I said before, I shoot for about 10 per day. So with the grams of sugar that's in the guacamole that I eat, which I think is only like maybe 1 or 2, and the 5 grams I'll be eating today, that gets me right around anywhere from 8 to 9 grams of sugar, so I'm at my 10 gram limit. So I'm good. But anyway, that's the nutritional value of all of this. So I'm going to show you how to start, or I'm going to get started showing you how I normally cook it. So I'm going to move all this stuff off to the side. And now bring in a little camp stove. I have a larger skillet this time because I'm cooking bigger portions of food. So and now I want to go ahead and, with this kind of stovetop, you always want to release the gas cylinder. There's a train going by. Sorry. You always want to release the gas cylinder when you're done cooking, so when you start back cooking, you always want to reattach it. And now, go ahead and turn it on, turn the heat down, because like we learned with this thing, it puts out a lot of heat. Now I usually like to go down around the minimum amount for the flame, just so it doesn't heat up too much. And so now I'm going to put my pan on. And I said we're going to count this as 40 calories. We're actually probably going to use about a tablespoon because it's a larger surface area. I didn't think of that. But right about there. About the size of a silver dollar. We'll call that about a tablespoon. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and coat my pan. And just like with the avocado oil in my other videos, you want to heat it up until it's flowing smoothly, until it actually flows very much and it coats the entire surface of your pan. That's getting very close. Now I know a lot of you already know how to cook, but I'm doing these videos for anyone that doesn't or would like to see the entire process of what I do. So that's good. See how it all just went to the center like that? Now, I'm going to show you something. A lot of people don't like the skin on their salmon, so what I'm going to do actually is just sit here, press it for a second, and then lift it right back up. And now the skin should... Okay, it's not doing it, so I'm wrong on that. So I'm going to go ahead and just put these in here with the skin on them. Now, the thing about salmon skin is you actually can eat it. It's not going to hurt anything if you do. So I've got my salmon cooking. That's still a little too hot for what I like, so I'm turning the heat down some more. And I just take my Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Now you can use Slap Your Mama, you can use Louisiana seasoning if you want. Just sprinkle some on there, you'll be fine. Now I am using a spatula this time, and I accidentally turned my stove off. Apparently that's what the minimum is there for. So put it back on the heat, and I'm going to go ahead and flip them now. And when I do, you kind of want to get some of the seasoning over here to where the seasoning is underneath your fillet when you flip it. And now, since we had a lot of seasoning on the other side of these, I'm not going to put any more on the side with the skin. I'm just going to let these cook for a little bit. And while they do, I'm going to take it, flip it a few more times. Now, with salmon, for me, and with most fish in general, since I don't cook fish often, it gets a little difficult for me to tell when it's completely done. But the good thing about fish is it's difficult to overcook. Because 9 times out of 10, when you cook fish, it's always going to be flaky, and that's what you're looking for. And with salmon, even though it's not necessarily my favorite choice for fish, it is really good. If I can flip this one, it is really good for you because it's got a lot of protein and a lot of good, healthy fats. The omega-3 that's in here, you're going to be getting some good fat. And the olive oil is going to help with that, with the omega-9s in it. If you don't know what omega-3 and omega-9s are, there are plenty of videos on YouTube to help you understand the difference between the types of fat there are. So I'm going to flip these one more time. See, the skin on the other side is starting to bubble. I think these are actually almost done. I'm going to get my plate ready. Now see, they didn't take any time to cook at all. So, just let these cook just a little longer. See, I don't want them to be raw in the middle. But as I said, it's kind of difficult for me to judge salmon because I'm not used to cooking it that often. Now this one I'll say is pretty much done. Yeah, it's got a nice crust right there on it. I'm going to go ahead and plate this one. Now, since this was the bigger one, I'm going to assume that the smaller one here is done as well. So, I've got my salmon plated. Now what I'm going to do for the broccoli is I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe out the pan. Ooh, it's getting a little hot there. Yeah, this needs to come down some more. So you just give the pan a cursory wipe, and because of the seasoning we're using for the broccoli, we don't really need a lot, or we don't really have to worry about the fact that we just cooked fish in this pan. So what I'm going to do is throw this back on here, take my entire sack of broccoli and just dump it right on there. Now, what I like to do with my broccoli when I'm pan frying it is I like to take some soy sauce, or in this case Bragg's liquid aminos. It's the exact same flavor, and just give it a nice squirt on it. And for broccoli as well, I like using chopsticks to stir it around. And all we're doing here is we're going to cook it until the soy sauce dries up. That may take a while, so bear with me. Or, you know, I could just do a snap. Okay, so our broccoli is now pretty well pan fried and sauteed, and as you see, there's no more liquid in the pan. Now, the only seasoning we used was the liquid aminos, which is basically soy sauce, and we don't need any other seasoning for this. Now, the reason why I like sauteing versus boiling or steaming is because you get so much better flavor and you don't lose any nutrients in the broccoli. None of this is getting boiled out, none of it is getting steamed out. This is my favorite way to cook it. Now, when I'm working and usually don't have as much time to cook, I will just take a smaller steamer bag and throw it in the microwave while I cook my main meat dish. I'm not doing that right now. I'm actually cooking because I have the time. And you just sort of want to put it on your plate, kind of move some stuff off, kind of move it just to where it's on one side. Now, the reason why I started doing this kind of setup for my plate anyway with the broccoli is because there's a train again. Give me a second. Okay, I think they're pretty well gone. So, like I was saying, the reason I started doing half a plate of broccoli was because when I'd go to dietitians sometimes, they would always tell me about something called the plate method. It's a simple way of measuring your servings. There you go. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? To measure your servings, where you're supposed to do half a plate of vegetable, quarter of a plate of meat, and normally you do a quarter of a plate of carbohydrates according to the plate method. But since I'm trying to not do any carbohydrates, I have my little coleslaw here, and if I wasn't doing the coleslaw, I probably would add in another salmon fillet just to even out the plate. But this is pretty good. Now, excuse me just one moment. I'm going to take a picture so I can have it for Facebook. And I just realized I did not turn on my light. Isn't that lighting so much better? Oh, dear Lord. But anyway, there's the picture for Facebook, and now we try the taste. Just take a little bit of our salmon here. That is cooked all the way through, and that is pretty tasty. Like I said, the skin is edible. It's got a lot of good fat in that layer between the skin and the fish. I'm enjoying it. Just take another bite here. That was very, very good. Now, of course, you can add a squeeze of lemon or some tartar sauce or whatever other condiments that you would like to this, and it's not going to suffer any as far as the taste goes. And for the broccoli, look at that. It looks kind of brown. That's because of the soy sauce. You just had about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of sauce that you just cooked into all this broccoli. But it's one of the best ways that I know to cook broccoli. Now, as for this coleslaw here, all I did was took a whole head of cabbage, well, half a head of cabbage, chopped it up real fine, and I added in some mayo, Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, salt and pepper, and I think that was it. Most recipes for homemade coleslaw will tell you to add sugar to it, but I'm telling you right now, this stuff here, it don't suffer from the lack of sugar. That Dijon mustard that you add to it, that gives it a nice little kick that I really enjoy. And that half a head of cabbage will make enough for about 6 or 7, maybe even 8 servings. Well, normally my servings are larger than this. This is just what I had left over. So they would normally make more, like maybe 8 or 9 or 10 servings around this size. But this is a really good meal, and I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it. So if you like this video, let me know. And as always, stay healthy, everyone. Later.